Hello children, how are you all? Hope everybody is fine. So today we will continue the chapter The Making of the Global World. Okay. So I'll start with India and the Great Depression. Now when we talk about the impact of depression of India, we can see how the economies of different countries have got integrated by the 20th century, isn't it? So if one part of the world was getting affected by the depression, obviously the other part too was facing the same kind of challenge, isn't it? So during the 19th century, India as a part of British colony was an exporter of agricultural goods and an importer of manufacturer. Okay. So the depression led to the crash of the market and it severely affected India. Okay. Now India exports reduced from 1928 to 1934, and as the price of the product in the market fall, the price in India also come down. Okay, so the situation was so bad that the price of wheat fell by 50% between 1928 to 1934. So the ones who suffered the most were the peasants and not the urban residents. Okay, because the price of the agricultural product had reduced, so there was no income for the peasants. On the other hand, the British government had not made any reduction in the revenue. Okay, so the tax paying, that is without any income, it was not an easy task, isn't it? So what happened is the case of the jute farmers. If you will see, these farmers used to grow jute when it was then proceeded, that is processed in the factories and exported in the form of gunny bags. Okay, but as the export for gunny bags collapsed, the price of jute also crashed more than 60%. Okay, now the condition of peasants across India was not good. They had to rely upon their savings. Yes, and in these depression years, India came up as an exporter of precious metals, especially gold. Okay, and John Maynard Keynes, that is, he was a famous economist. Okay, and he believed that Indian gold exports may help the world to recover from the depression. Okay, so the Indians from rural areas were suffering badly from the depression, and at this time, Mahatma Gandhi launched the civil disobedience movement to help them. And the depression, as said earlier, proved less for the urban Indians as they were the zamindars, salaried employees, isn't it? So now we know how business grew in the world market and how the situation changed due to the Great Depression. But this does not remain for a long period. Okay, when the economies came out of this, they tried to rebuild themselves. So how did this happen? Let us see in the next topic. So now comes rebuilding a world economy. Okay, that is the post-war era. Okay, as we all know that World War One proved very disastrous for the whole world, while the world was trying to recover from the aftermath of World War One, isn't it? So the Second World War broke after the gap of 2 decades of World War One. And the Second World War, that is 1939 to 1945, it was fought between two powers, that is Axis and Allies. Okay, Allies, that is mainly Nazi Germany, Japan and Italy, and Allies, that is Britain, France and Soviet Union and US. So this lasted for how many years? 6 years on many front and in many places over land, on sea, in the air. Now once again the world was turned towards death and destruction, and this time at least 60 million people, or about we can say 3% of the world's 1939 population, are believed to have been killed directly or indirectly as a result of war. Okay, so this time the difference was that the death that took place were that of civilians, not the fighters in the battlefield. Okay, so the war proved to be the biggest economic setback for many countries. Now after this war, the two countries rose to their power. They were the US, that emerged as the economic and military power in the Western world, and the other was Soviet Union. Okay, that is, they made huge sacrifice to defeat Nazis Germany. Yes, so when the world economies found themselves again trapped in the depression, what steps did they took to come out of it? That is post-war settlement and the Bretton Woods institution. Okay, so the economists and the politicians two conclusions after the war was over. Now, the first was sustainment of the industrial society, that is mass consumption. But here the problem was that for mass consumption there was a requirement of stable income, and for this there was a need for stable employment. But again the problem was market, that is they could not guarantee full employment. So government would have to step in to minimize this irregularity of prices, employment, and only the government could restore economic stability. Okay, so this was the first one, and the second was related to the country's economic links with the other countries. So in short we can say that the main agenda of the post-war international economic system was to maintain economic stability and full employment in the industrial world. Okay, so the framework was designed for this at United Nations Monetary and Financial Conference, which was held in July 1944 at Bretton Woods, that is in New Hampshire, USA. Okay, and this Bretton Woods conference which resulted in what, that is establishment of International Monetary Fund, IMF. Okay, what to deal with, so that to deal with external surplus. Okay, and the second was the formation of International Bank, that is for reconstruction and development. Okay, which is also known as World Bank, to finance post-war reconstruction. Okay, so the financial operation of both the IMF and the World War began in 1947, and the decision making process is handled by Western industrial powers. Okay, so the Bretton Woods system is based on fixed exchange rate. Okay, so the dollar here has a fixed price of $35 per ounce of gold. So now we know that IMF and World Bank were created in order to preserve the economic stability and full employment. Okay, clear all of you? So now we will see what economies experienced after the war, that is the early post-war years. Okay, now the Bretton Woods system brought an era of growth of trade and income for the Western industrial nation and Japan. Okay, so from 1950 to 1970, the world trade grew annually at over 8% and incomes at nearly 5%. So the growth in this time period was mostly stable. Okay, and during this decade, the world saw the invention of various new technologies and growth of enterprises. So as developing countries wanted to match with the pace of advanced country, they made huge investments of capital and started importing plants and equipments featuring through modern technology. Okay, so let's have a look at this, that is decolonization and independence. Now, though the Second World War had come to an end, okay, but still there were many countries that were under the European colonial rule. So in the coming 2 decades, most of the African and Asian colonies set themselves free from colonialism. Okay, but these countries were suffering with the problems like poverty, lack of resources. Okay, and because of plunder they had borne due to colonial rule. And the IMF and the World Bank were formed to meet the financial demands of the industrial countries. Okay, during this period, what happened? Europe and Japan became self-sufficient. So now they were not in the need of IMF or World Bank's help. Okay, though various colonies had acquired independence, still they were under indirect control of various European powers because they took guidance and help from the rich dominating economies, okay, which in turn got cheap access to the valuable natural resource. Got it? So US saved the best example of it, as it managed to exploit the developing countries natural resources at very cheap rate. Okay, so they organized themselves in the way, and now we know that the Western world was developing day by day, and underdeveloped countries were making various attempts to bring growth and development in their countries. Okay, so now we will discuss the concept of globalization and the end of Bretton Woods. Post-war world had seen years of stable and rapid growth, but it was not as good as it seemed. Okay, from the 1960s, the US began to face the weakened finance and competition issues. It was because of the rise in the cost of its overseas involvement. Okay, so not only this, the international financial system also changed in mid 1970s. So from 1970s till 1990s, industrial world also faced the problem of unemployment because MNCs began shifting their production operation to low wage Asian countries. Understood. So, though China had cut itself from the world economy after its independence, that is in 1949, due to the new economic policies in China, okay, and collapse of the Soviet Union. And Soviet style communism in Eastern Europe brought the countries again into the fold of the world economy. So, the shifting of industries to low wage countries have increased world trade and capital flows. Okay, and in the past 2 decades, countries like India, China, and Brazil have undergone rapid economic transformation. Okay, so I hope this one is clear, everybody. Yes, so go through the chapter once again, read it properly. Thank you so much, bachas. God bless you all.